Hi, everyone. My name is Kyle Poyar. I'm from Openview, and I'm here to talk about pricing in a product-led world. Pricing is really your most powerful lever for growth and profitability. There's lots of different studies on this that look at the impact of different levers on EBITDA. What if you increase prices? What if you reduce your costs? What if you reduce sales and marketing efforts? And pricing has by far the greatest impact. But it's a blind spot for most companies, right? But at most companies, really no one owns pricing in the company, even as a piece of their job responsibilities. And in our benchmarking study, we found 55% said no one in the company owns pricing. At 36% of companies, pricing is just a piece of someone's responsibility. And then only 9% of companies actually had dedicated resources for pricing. And this is just SaaS companies in general. But I think in a product-led world, pricing is even more important, right? You can't just rely on your sales team to communicate value or to discount your pricing when it's appropriate to win a deal. Your product and your website are the main way that you're communicating value. And if your pricing is confusing or it's not value-based, you're really going to slow down that acquisition funnel. Pricing, as I mentioned, it's about getting users into the product without friction, and pricing can be a major friction point. And so you have two main routes of doing this with your pricing. One is looking at free or freemium product opportunities, whether that's free trials, classic freemium, or different free products that tie into your product. And another is enabling bottoms-up sales. So that's allowing a user to get started with your product at a lower price before catalyzing a larger enterprise-wide deal. And if you look at most product-led businesses, companies like Pluralsight or Dropbox or Evernote or Slack, they have some sort of free offering or low-cost offering to allow users to sign up with minimal friction. So let's get into this more specifically, and I'll start with freemium. And in our SaaS benchmarking survey from 2018, we asked companies about whether they've adopted different product-led growth strategies. And 47% said that they had adopted free trials, 29% had customer referral programs, 28% had product qualified leads. Actually, only 17% had a freemium model. And so freemium's not actually as popular as a lot of people think. And even when it's not adopted, it's not always impactful. So this is data from the Pacific Crest SaaS survey. And in their one of the recent surveys, they asked about how much of your new ACV comes from freemium leads. And 73% said no new ACV comes from freemium leads. Another 13% said actually less than 10% of new ACV is driven by this. And only 9% of companies said that freemium drives more than 25% of their new ACV. So that's, if you look at it this way, freemium is just one customer acquisition strategy to hopefully bring in users at a low cost, but it's really not the only route for a product-led business. And so we'll talk about when freemium works, but we'll actually also talk about other ways of using free products to get users into your product. So when does freemium actually work? I think this is really important to understand the signals that it's right for your business. And for me, most importantly, is that you have a massive market, right? And so if you think about the classic freemium economics, you need millions of free users to generate enough paying users to have a sustainable business. The rule of thumb is, a conversion rate from free to paid of in the single digits, maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5%. So that means to get to, 100,000 paying customers, you'd actually need, 10 million potentially free users. So you really need a massive market. Freemium tends to be best for horizontal applications that appeal to a broad base of users. And then the product actually you want the product to become more valuable the more it's used, right? So people can't just use the free version and stay on it forever. You want there to be some sort of incentive for them to eventually migrate to the paid version. So Dropbox is a great example, right? Where the more and more files that you're saving and using with Dropbox, the more valuable Dropbox is, the more it's sort of this necessary product as opposed to a nice to have. I think Slack's another great example. You're inviting more people into the product, you're communicating more, you're setting up channels, you're maybe setting up integrations with other systems, and you really want to start keeping that data that you have on Slack. And so their message archive becomes a great trigger once people use up their messaging storage, they really have this motivation to upgrade because the product has become a lot more valuable than when they started out. Third is that you have to have enough product differentiation to make freemium a positive experience without giving away everything. So if freemium is too bad, then you won't actually get the user engagement and stickiness that will convert people into paid users. But if freemium is too good and you don't have enough additional value to offer the customer, then freemium will actually just be a distraction for the business. So you need to have enough product differentiation to have a good enough freemium version, but also a great opportunity for more value through features. And then finally, and this should be obvious, you should have a low cost to serve, right? So you shouldn't be a product that's burdened with tons and tons of customer support and getting users calling up constantly asking for help. You can't have freemium be a drain on your resources. And so your other opportunity to use pricing to reduce friction in this process, get more users into the funnel, is a bottoms-up sale. And your pricing can actually help you become a bottoms-up machine. And this is what makes that product-led growth flywheel spin. Because you want your pricing to land new users who have expansion paths, either by getting other new users into the platform, or to spend more and more with you over time. And this is, bottoms up is hopefully a self-service product that individual users can go purchase on their own. They don't need budget approval. They don't need procurement approval. They don't need to get dozens of people on board with it. They can just start up. It's kind of shadow IT. Start using the product. Start seeing value, and then they'll want to convert to a larger and larger deal later on. And the rationale is that you are able to build champions who sell your product internally. So they do the work of selling your product to more and more people in their organization and spreading sort of organically within that larger enterprise. It's also paid lead generation. So you're getting paid from this company and you're generating a lead that's going to get you more prospects in that account. And then finally, it's a much faster sales process. It allows you to land these customers, get them to use the product, and get them to see value without having procurement or IT. So it really speeds up the process. And so what now? What should you take away, really specifically from this talk? I think first off is don't be afraid to experiment with different ways that freemium free products or bottoms up products can look for your business. Todd Jackson, the former VP of product at Dropbox, talked at our product-led growth summit San Francisco, and he said experimentation is a huge part of our growth infrastructure. Back in 2012, they were running 2 to 3 experiments per month. Now they're doing 80 experiments per month. They're constantly running these, and these are driving more than $100 million in incremental revenue every year. And pricing is something that they definitely experiment with, both on-site and through offline research. And pricing changes and running pricing tests has a pretty dramatic impact on ARR growth. So this is, again, from our SaaS benchmark survey. We asked companies, did you change pricing or not? And if they had changed it, what impact did it have on your ARR growth? And only 2% of companies said that it decreased their ARR growth. So in other words, 98% of the time, pricing changes are going to be neutral or have a positive impact on your growth. I don't know how many tests you can run that are, neutral or positive 98% of the time. But 40% of the time, pricing changes positively increase ARR by more than 25%. So there's a ton of revenue opportunity to unlock with pricing changes from both your top line and the bottom line. I hope you have walked out of this lesson with several ideas for tests that you can run to increase that product-led growth flywheel, and with the confidence to start trying new pricing changes in the new year.